My God, I did not even add myself to the stage here. GM. I don't know why I only did a 30-second clock today, and I wasn't ready. So let me share my screen. I was actually going to try to get people into this draft, but unfortunately, with the Chihuahua at 97%, these things are just snap filling. This thing will be filled in the next couple of hours, if not the next hour. Huhame, sup, bam. GM, thank you so much for coming in this morning. I'm going to try to get 3 drafts in before I turn over the reins to Pete and Best Ball Breakfast. That comes on at 10, so I will be watching that. But in the meantime, let's hang out. Let's see if we can't draft some winners. This contest filled really fast. I thought I was going to be able to stream this today through Wednesday, and it looks like only today. And I don't even know if a second draft is going to happen. This thing was filling between 1% and 2% per draft last night. So I don't know if people are going to wake up and see that it's filling. A lot of people just pile into slows, so that kind of exponentially increases the fill rate at the end. So we'll just run these as long as we can, but otherwise we just took our another Jamar Chase share. Crander 47 GM. I have been running really hot with 101s in this tournament somehow. So I have a lot of Jamar Chase. Actually, yesterday I took Malik Neighbors at the 101 just to do something different, because out of 5 drafts I had gotten like 3 101s, and I'd had some another few before. So if Jamar Chase is who you need, I might do well in the Chihuahua. At least get a couple teams through. Maybe hopefully to the money rounds in the semis. Huhame's maxed last night. Yeah, I was in there for some of them. Some of your drafts I liked. I think it was the first team you had. I really liked that one. But yeah, I just can't believe how fast this one filled. And when they size the contest right and do these kind of like 25 max ones, they will fill really quickly. The Greyhound, I think the problem is everybody who was really into this like did their one Greyhound early, and I think we're realizing like, there's only so many only so many slappies who are drafting in July. I was trying to fill my do my Greyhound over the weekend, and every time I joined, it was like waiting for between 11 and 8, and I usually I didn't have a ton of time, so I couldn't just like wait for it to fill. I'm sure a few of them fired, but it was very difficult to get that off. Huhames asked if the slows are closed. Let me make my pick. Once I make my pick, I'll go back and check. Crander, I was going to try and max the Chihuahua. I only got 10. Pretty sure it will fill before I can draft more. Yeah, I don't think you can get 10 fast drafts in. I think this is going to fill in like 3 hours. And so I think even if you just went back to back, unless if you multi-table, I think you could do it. But I personally do not like multi-tabling underdog fasts, especially not on the phone, just like weird latency issues. And then it's not as bad on desktop, but at that point, I'd just rather do some slow drafts. Again, I'll check to see if those are filled. Coming around to us, Jamar Chase is here. I don't really do Chase Higgins. I'm just not a fan of using my first 2 picks on 2 receivers on the same team. It's always felt a little thin to me. I'm going to take Bucky Irving. I like Bucky quite a lot, and maybe I will do. I haven't taken a ton of Trey McBride. I've kind of let him fall. He's been slipping a little bit lately, but I'm going to take him. He's a week 17 bring back for Jamar Chase, and we'll just have 1 running back, 1 receiver, and 1 tight end to start the room with. Let's see if I go to the Chihuahua. No, it's still there are still slows, Huhames. So I'll see if I really if I really need to max this, I could finish it with some slows. I just might just not max the Chihuahua. I think it looks like I have 5 to go. If I end up like 2 or 3 short, I think I'm okay with that. The format, the payout structure. You know what? I think I'm thinking of the Dachshund. I don't know why I thought I guess you just get your money back if you advance. So if you advance, you get your money back, and then I think you double your money in the next round minimum. Is that what that is? Let's see. I'm pulling up the rules on a different tab. So this one, the finals are 217 persons. So if you make the finals in the Chihuahua, you're guaranteed at least $100, and probably 200. You'd have to run pretty bad to end up in the final 16, but obviously you can't guarantee that. And if you just advance, then a total of, let's see, 1,302. So yeah. So if you just advance, you just get your money back. So in order to make anything, you actually have to make it up to the semis. Huim says the other you have to get to week 16 to get the Dachshund. That's what it was. I got the two mixed up. I have Dachshunds to go, so I was kind of thinking if the Chihuahua maxes before I get to it, I will run some Dachshunds this morning. I might overlap the tail of some drafts just to make sure that I'm able to get 3 in before 10 a.m. But we fired this off a little early, which is nice, and I think it's time. I think it's time to get the Ducks rolling. There was StreamYard did some updates. They have more music. Oh man! All right. Well, this is more than I want to do on the fly, but let's see. That is going to do with my audio for a second. But yeah, all right. Let's see. So it doesn't look like there's anything too out of the ordinary going, other than maybe Draco B. This is a little unusual, going 3 running backs through 4, but especially Omari and Hampton at 38. Again, Hampton wouldn't be there at 59, so I don't necessarily hate that. But this is pretty aggressive, especially with James Cook at 35. That's kind of high, I think, for Cook. He tends to fall into the 40s a little more, but maybe Draco B is trying to build a little bit of a unique combo. I like what this guy's done. MKJST with Hill, JSN, and Jameson Williams. Those are 3 of my favorite targets. And of course, starting with Bijan, going Bijan ahead of Barkley, seeing Barkley at 5. You could see that happening more and more. Bijan, I believe, has officially flipped Barkley in underdog ADP. So coming up to us on the turn, the question is going to be 2 receivers, or do we take a receiver and a running back? I think I'm going to take Worthy here, and I'm going to take Waddle. I'll do Worthy, Waddle. Waddle, of course, is a bring back to both Tampa Bay and Cincinnati in the playoffs, so I really like that. I also think Waddle is the biggest beneficiary of Jonnu leaving town, so I'm always happy to get Jonnu in the 5th round. And obviously this is the first pick of the 5th round, but I think he should rise. He should have risen more than he has, and he's kind of stuck in this range. Although, you know what, maybe this is kind of the wall, right? I don't know if I really would take him ahead of Worthy, Metcalf, Sutton, JMO. I think this is probably around where he should have risen to. All right, let's see. Chris, wake up. GM Chris, thank you so much for coming in this morning. Yes, slows are still open, so if you want to pile in to max the Chihuahua, you can do so. Again, just for me, I'm just such not a fan of slows. I'd rather just come up slightly short in maxing the Chihuahua. I'm not going to be able to max every single contest that comes out. I like the Chihuahua. So far, they've generally been pretty fun, pretty fast drafts. But yeah, if I'm going to go into slow draft hell, it might be for I don't know, a contest that has a little more firepower than the Chihuahua has. Al Boogie 78 GM, thank you for coming by. Al Boogie 78, I will tell you, you currently are in my on my roster for the Hertzig team. So please let me know if you're not maxing BBM, but you are currently in the on the team. So I just thought you would appreciate that. And X Wall, you know damn well you took Waddle for being a homer. That doesn't hurt, right? I definitely watch more Dolphins games than anyone else. But X Wall, I am a huge bear when it comes to the Dolphins. I just assume everything's going to go wrong like my thought of Jalen Waddle is a guy who's like got a little Anthony Davis in him, where he's just always going to the locker room for something stupid and probably most players would play through, but he like has to go limping into the locker room and, you know, misses 2 drives and then comes back. Pretty annoying that that's like kind of his MO, but I'm going to hope, you know, there's a little more spine to this team this year, and things are better. But, you know, shipping Jonnu out does say to me that they want to return the offense to, you know, to what it was 2 years ago. And, you know, we were drafting Waddle and Hill, you know, Hill in the first round. I think Waddle was up in the third, if I'm not mistaken. Tua was really early. So I'm just hoping that that's kind of the vision that we get this year. And so I'm more than happy to end up with Waddle, Hill, and a little more A-Chain. I should be getting more A-Chain, but he's been a riser. Where did he go here? He's in 16. So, you know, he's kind of hit a bit of a wall as far as like how much further he can go up. But he's a guy that I do want to take a little more of. Annex, well, I think the season is make or break for them way more than the Giants are. Yeah, I agree. I think McDaniel this is kind of it. Like if he can't put it together this year, then I think he's going to be out. I think the league kind of adapted to that, like Shanahan clone offense that he runs. Like, you know, there's enough tape and defenses adapt to what offenses are doing. And if he can't, you know, figure out a way to adapt to the adaptation, I think he's done. And to me, it was a bad sign that they couldn't, they just couldn't come up with a new offense when Tua was out. It just like couldn't scheme up anything. So I'm going to take another running back. I'll take Judkins at 9. I'm not going to be too much of a bye week bro here, and I think I'm going to take Pacheco ahead of Swift. I've really come around to the idea that we really could just be buying the RB1 in Kansas City in, you know, the 7th round, and that just seems pretty good to me. I also have Worthy on this team. This, you know, makes, you know, a falling Mahomes would be nice. He usually doesn't make it all the way back around, but you never know. Let's see what the Rashee Rice drafter needs a quarterback. So I would be pretty surprised if we do get a falling Mahomes. He makes it all the way to me, but you never know. But I do find myself taking more Pacheco. I feel like the Pacheco bet might be better than the Swift bet, where, you know, we've seen Ben Johnson kind of cast Swift off before, and I think I'm more likely to buy into a Chiefs resurgence than the you know, Swift turning into to Gibbs or something like that. Crander says, I'm not sure the improvements to the Finns O-line was enough, but I like they at least tried to address it. Crander 47, I will say this for the Dolphins. They try to address the O-line. They're just really bad at it. Like, they always sign somebody. They always draft somebody. Their just talent eval is god-awful. But I do agree. I'm glad that they still recognize this as a problem and they're still trying to fix it. But they're just like, it's just like hiring a bad mechanic. And like you see, they're trying to fix your car. They're doing everything they can, but they just like don't know what they're doing. And then the car doesn't work. So yeah, Who Hames, jump on the Pacheco train, boys. Yeah, I think, you know, as camp goes on, if we don't get any kind of word that things are not good with Pacheco, and it sounds like so far so good with him, I have my serious, you know, doubts that like Hunt or Mitchell are really going to eat into him. We all love Brashard Smith, but I think, you know, if there is a McKinnon role, he'll have that. But Pacheco was fine when McKinnon was there, you know, and Pacheco's kind of glory days. So you know, it would not be good if Hunt has a goal line role. I'm sure that would make Pacheco pretty grim there if that ends up happening. But I think you know, Pacheco has shown that he can be what Andy Reid needs him to be and could be a very productive fantasy asset on an offense that I think is going to be better. I think that Super Bowl kind of sleepwalking was a little bit of a wake up call, and I'm pretty bullish on the Chiefs. And I know that sounds like, well, yeah, obviously it's the Chiefs, but people could be down on them. People can be, I think people are tired of the Chiefs. I think people want to see that dynasty kind of, crumble, but I don't think the Chiefs are going away. So anyway, that's my sales pitch on Pacheco, at least as far as being ahead of Swift. I'm not trying to get like, massive stand on Pacheco, but I have been taking him. Al Boogie, hell yeah, Chad, appreciate it. I'll be maxing 88 left. Awesome, Al Boogie. Well, I am we're at pretty similar pace. I think I have like 95 left. So I am with you there, but yeah, we'll see where we end up. It's fun that he did that, and hopefully hopefully if anyone rosters me, I can give them a little bit of a sweat. Who knows? Ant Xwall, I feel like the biggest mistake was having an incompetent backup QB. We all know Tua is too fragile. Yeah, if you're a Dolphins fan, you were like thought Mike White was a Hall of Famer like I did. And we're pretty bummed when they let him go. We're not going to get Patrick Mahomes, people, because this guy's going to take him. Not him, this guy, the Rashee Rice guy, rookie. But, it would be nice. I'll put him in the queue. So who else do we have? We've got Chase, Worthy, and Waddle. So we're not going to get... I think if we can, we just got to take Kyler with one of our picks. If Kyler goes, then I might do a Bo Nix, Evan Ingram double tap as a bring back on the Chiefs. But I think passing on Kyler is getting a little cute there. And I think what I want to do is I want to take Kyler and a receiver. And for me, I think I rate Rashid Shaheed a little bit ahead of Trey Harris. I don't know if Trey Harris is actually ahead of QJ, and I don't know if he's going to end up ahead of QJ. I want that to be the case, but I'm a little afraid that that pick is going to seem a little silly. They use good draft capital on Trey Harris. I think Harris is more talented than QJ, but for some reason it feels like, Harbaugh has a thing for the guy, and maybe that stretches back to like his college days. Watching him, in Michigan when QJ kind of torched the Wolverines in a very high profile game. I don't know. Whatever it is, I'm going to take Rashid Shaheed there, and maybe opinions can vary on Harris for Shaheed, but I do like Rashid Shaheed. It sounds like he's healthy, and I do not mind taking him in these best ball contests. Who Hames? I'm going to be like 9 to 12% or something on Pacheco. That feels about right to me. I don't want to be like double the field, but yeah, I think 9 to 12 sounds perfect. Chris says better start multitabling Mr. C. Oh no, I know it's not good. 98%. I know. We started this. It was 90. It was. I can't remember what the decimal point was, but it was in the 97. Trey Harris, KC, week 15, bring back. And Xwell, this is why the overlays help for that kind of stuff, because I got week 17, week 16. I know a few of the games, but week 15, no idea. I maybe, for BBMs, I'll keep a chart open. But honestly, for the Chihuahua, I don't know if I'm that sweaty to get the week to tie break to the week 15 matchups. Fantasy Dog number 6, just subscribe. Fantasy Dog, thank you so much for coming in. Fantasy Dog, we were in the overflow room last night in the fan speak in Steve's Chihuahuas. We were trying to draft with Steve, and we ended up drafting with each other. But Fantasy Dog, thank you so much for the support and for coming by. Really appreciate that this morning. Chad Candles, Who Hames, and Al Boogie. Who Hames says hello. Fantasy Dog thought White was definitely Hall of Fame material. If you're a Dolphins fan, you really thought Mike White was something. I couldn't believe we let him go. And then I don't know if anyone else signed him or he was on the practice squad. So clearly, I'm complaining about the Dolphins talent eval, but I would not be the best GM myself, at least as far as backup QBs go. So far, we've got a 1-3-4-1 with Kyler at QB, Bucky Irving, Quinshon Judkins, Isaiah Pacheco at running back, Jamar Chase, Xavier Worthy, Jalen Waddle, Rashid Shaheed at receiver, and Trey McBride at tight end. So drafting at the turn, if we want Tua, we probably have to take him. I think he goes after that. Let me see. Where does Tua go? Tua goes at 149. So in the ideal world, he'll be there. He'll be there for us at 144. But can't necessarily guarantee that. If he's not there, then we've got. I'm going to be honest. We've got some real problems. This is one of the stone worst places to be in the market for a wide receiver. I'm not big on Christian Kirk. I'm not big on Kyle Williams either. To me, this is much more fertile ground for running backs. I'm going to take J.K. Dobbins. I was tempted to do a Lovecraft instant stack here, but I think that's getting a little bit clever. But I'm gonna take David Njoku, and then I can shut it down at tight end here. And of course, now I've got a couple of Cleveland Browns, so hoping that offense is a little better. I think in my heart of hearts, I do rate Tucker Kraft now slightly ahead of Njoku. But I think when I've already made a little bit of a bet on Cleveland, then I can take that there. I also don't want to just take Kraft every time ahead of Njoku. I think they're both really good clicks. And I think had I not had Trey McBride, there would be something to be said for taking Njoku and Kraft and shutting it down at tight end there. So we add to the tight end room. We'll try to make this probably a 3-6-7-2 team, unless we find the need to backstack another quarterback. Our one problem here is, our natural third quarterback here is Tyler Show, which is a little bit grim. Although if we take Tyler Show, then that makes, Juwan Johnson as a third tight end. I think that's perfectly reasonable. And I also feel like Juwan Johnson is likely to score similarly to some of the wide receivers you're taking in the 17th, 18th round. So I don't mind if this team ends up having a third tight end late if we do go the Show route. Fantasy Dog agrees with the Shaheed pick. Appreciate that. And Al Boogie says, "Good morning to Fantasy Dog." All right, let's go check the fill. Let's see. The Chihuahua at 98.6. Oh no. All right. Maybe after my next pick, I will fire up another one. I don't really want to multi-table much because A, I don't like it, and B, I think it's a crummy, kind of a crummy viewer experience having that up. Oh my God, almost as bad as showing none of the draft board. So we'll see. Maybe after pick 14, 15, I'll fire up another one. Oh, Dirty P, it's Shuck. I did it. Please stop, GM. Dirty P, I apologize. Yes, we have established it's Tyler Shuck, and I kept calling him Tyler Show. So Dirty P, thank you for correcting me. Yes, this could be a Tyler Shuck team, and Fantasy Dog had a bad draft day. You know what? And it's good you recognize that. Sometimes you just got to realize like that. It just wasn't there, and today's a new day, and hopefully those teams come out better. Sometimes those weekend drafts can be a little bit squirrely. So I hear you. So I'm going to queue up Tua here and see what else we can take with him. Could possibly take the aforementioned QJ. That's a little disgusting. Tootin's a guy I take a ton of and feels like a little bit more of an upside swing, maybe. I think I'm going to do that. Trey Benson, though, also makes sense on this team. Interesting choice, because Benson, of course, with Kyler. Maybe I'll take Trey Benson. I don't get a ton of him, and if I don't take him here, then I don't know how much I'm realistically going to be grabbing him. So, I'll take Benson. I don't love what I saw from him last season. Sorry, I'm just thinking, but but I do think that, if I am gonna just not have a fade position, then I probably then he probably makes sense on this particular team. But it did feel like he was having trouble beating out like DeMarcado and in a few, I can't remember who the other scrubby running back that they were trotting out last season. He didn't really consolidate the work behind Connor, which concerns me, but he was also a rookie last year. I'm willing to see the idea that he makes some improvements himself, and they didn't add anyone else, which suggests that they do, they're happy enough with Benson there. So that's a long way of saying I'll take a Trey Benson share, because again, I have so much Tootin. If Tootin's good, I'm gonna be fine. So let's see. Did I pull this up before? Wants the chaos of multi-tables. All right. Well, I think I'm going to oblige you there. Shuck me the money. I'm going to pronounce it the correct way, Chris. Negus cross X-Face GM less than 1K left in the Chihuahua. All right. We're going to do it. We are going to pull up another Chihuahua. So if you want to join, it's too late because this snap filled. So this is going to be a lot of fun. Trying to multi-table. This probably won't go well. I got the 101 again. All right, chat. Tell me who to take. I'm not taking Jamar Chase. In fact, I'm only taking someone neighbors and beyond. So, if you want to vote, 33 seconds. I don't know how to put up a poll in that time, but I'm not going to take another Jamar Chase share. I keep getting the 101 in this one. Huame says completely flip the board. Crossface says Nico. Jamar T. Josh Allen says Chris. All right, let me see. I saw a Nico vote. I like Nico. Who? Oh my God, I'm struggling. I'm not even really multi-tabling yet, and I'm struggling. Okay, Nico is going to be the pick. I'm going to queue it up and let it auto for a second because I want to make sure I am okay over here. All right. We are going to take Nico in this draft at the 101 and go back to the other one. The good news about multi-tabling from the turns is that you get a lot more time, and we're less likely to have some kind of chaotic run. Nico, hopefully you can have to just draft from the active screen. Is that easier for you all to see? Because I can do that if that's a better way to watch. It's a little harder because you can't pull up the draft board from here, but and on my screen it doesn't show my full roster. But we'll see how this goes. We will see how this goes. And yes, Sue Hames, this definitely is an easier way to manage the two, and hopefully they don't sync up, because that sometimes does have a tendency to happen. So with a 3-5-4-2, I definitely need a wide receiver or two. I don't find myself with a ton of Demario Douglas. I really like Brent Strange, but I think that's just taking a guy that I'm comfortable clicking ahead of a guy that I really need. I like Alec Pierce here. I think he's kind of underpriced for what he is. Demario Douglas, though, has been getting some decent enough camp buzz. So we'll take a Demario Douglas share. If I want to do the quarterback with the backup running back, I could take Jalen Wright. I am a little nervous that Jalen Wright isn't actually the backup in Miami. I definitely could see Ollie Gordon winning that job at the end of the day. But until we get a little more word out of that, I'm going to operate as though Wright is the backup there and take him and shut it down at running back. So our running back room is going to end up as Bucky, Quinshon Judkins, Isaiah Pacheco, J.K. Dobbins, Trey Benson, and Jalen Wright. So I got 3 running backs I'm excited about. I got J.K. Dobbins, who I think is going to have a bigger role than all of us really want him to have, because we are much more excited about RJ Harvey, and then 2 pretty much pure contingent backs in Benson and Wright. Although Wright might, depending on what they do with A-Chain, we'll see if Wright ends up with any kind of role. We are coming up here we have Nico Collins on this board. Fantasy Dog saying good morning. Dirty P notices that it's always Nico that gets pulled up. I think, maybe it's because he most consistently goes at the turn. Like, you don't run the risk of taking a guy who is a faller. Of those guys, you really don't see Nico like slipping too far. So you're more likely to end up with unique combos than you will with certain other picks. But yeah, I think I agree with you. I agree with you there. Jonathan Taylor would be a gift if we get that. We'll see if we do. Otherwise, let's see. So he takes Tyreek. I really like Tyreek, but I will take Jonathan Taylor there. And you know what? Maybe we do Taylor Higgins. It's a little wonky, right? Something a little different. Taking T. Higgins at the turn is common. Taking Jonathan Taylor at the turn happens, but then having Nico Collins is going to be unique. Uh-oh, I clicked the wrong button. All right. We hit the wrong button. Let's see. We are back over here on this Chihuahua. And we have our 2-6-5-2 with Kyler and Tua. Running back room of Bucky, Judkins, Pacheco, J.K. Dobbins, Trey Benson, Jalen Wright. So we're done at running back. Wide receiver room of Jamar Chase, Xavier Worthy, Jalen Waddle, Rashid Shaheed, Demario Douglas. And tight ends up Trey McBride and David Njoku. I really wish I knew who the quarterback was going to be in Cleveland. If I had a good feeling of that, I would take them. I think if I absolutely had to take someone, it would be Dylan Gabriel, because I think that's who the regime wants to be the quarterback. But it is such a crowded QB room. I think to take him is getting pretty fancy. If you are going to take him, this is probably the tournament to do it in versus BBM, where if you're wrong, you're just taking a 0. And if you're right, people at the, in August are going to have him too. Whereas here, if I took Dylan Gabriel, it could be one of, I don't know, a sub 0.25%, drafts where Dylan Gabriel goes. So, there is something to be said for making that kind of bet in this contest. I just don't know if I really want to go that route this time, especially with Tyler Shuck as the much more clear play. I'm just going to take Mr. Shuck here and another receiver. So I will take what am I? I'm struggling. I realize there's no Q here. All right, I'm going to we'll take Keenan Allen and we'll take Tyler Shuck there. So we add Keenan to the room. I think when Keenan signs, he's going to rise. Maybe it's the 16th round in which he rises up to, and we didn't really get any kind of value. But I do think that, depending on where he goes, and I think he's unlikely to go anywhere that he remains drafted this late. I think just being on a team is going to be pretty beneficial to his ADP. Crossface says, good morning, dog. Well, Rob Coakley is doing it a lot on stream, so others vibing with it as well, most likely. The only thing I don't like about flipping the board is it just means you're getting less Jamar Chase. And I know that's really obvious, but if I had an infinite number of drafts, I would flip the board a lot more. But I don't want to end up underweight Jamar Chase like that, or whomever you're taking at the top. And I think that's the problem. But when I have been getting a lot of 101s like in this Chihuahua, then I think doing it makes a lot of sense. Let's see who Hames. Let's queue up Omari and Hampton. Let's see if we can't get Hampton Nico. That would be the dream. If Hampton goes, I'm hopefully James Cook insulates us from someone who needs a running back. Yes, we got our guy. So do we want to Worthy, Sutton, Waddle? Maybe I'll do another Waddle team. I'm definitely taking Hampton. really in on Waddle, although I think maybe taking Waddle ahead of Worthy is just getting too fancy. And I'm just gonna take Xavier Worthy here. I think that's getting cute. I think it's yes, you have the Dolphins Bengals stack, but again, I think that's a pretty nice little fall on Worthy that we were able to get there. So we got our guy who Hames suggested Sutton/Pickens. I think those would have been just fine as well. I also like Pickens a little more in these contests than in BBM because he has been he's been a riser, and so you're not getting it in as bad. We have one pick left, so I'm going to pull this board up just so I can recap the team. We're going to take one more receiver. I think it's pretty thin. I don't think I have a particular, Malik Washington or Westbrook Ikeen would be fine with Tua. I don't think there's a late Saint or Cardinal that I really want. Juwan Johnson is still there. Maybe we just take Juwan Johnson and make this a 3-6-6-3. So I'm going to do that. Wrap up this team, a 3-6-6-3. Kyler Murray, Tua, Tyler Shuck, Bucky Irving, Quinshon Judkins, Isaiah Pacheco, J.K. Dobbins, Trey Benson, and Jalen Wright. Wide receiver room, Jamar Chase, Xavier Worthy, Jalen Waddle, Rashid Shaheed, Demario Douglas, and Keenan Allen. And a wide receiver room of Trey McBride, David Njoku, and Juwan Johnson. So this fortunately enables us to go back to single screen, at least for the time being. And I can pull the board up now so people can see what's going on here. I'll probably fire up another draft in 15 minutes so that I can get a third draft in before 10. And, it may or may not be a Chihuahua, depending on if the Chihuahua is full. Let me just pull up the Chihuahua fill. Let's see. Where are we at there? The Chihuahua is at 99%. You guys saw it just flipped from 98.9 to 99. There are still slows, so if you're trying to pile into those, now is your chance. Now is your chance to max the Chihuahua. But fortunately, we are able to go single screen here and not have to subject you to that, where you can't see who's in the queue. Who Aim says Worthy a better pick, but Nico with Sutton/Pickens more rare than Worthy as all. I see what you're saying, Who Aims. I don't know. I mean, I don't know how much Worthy Nico there will be either. I guess maybe because we did, Worthy normally goes at 44, you might get people taking him. I don't think people are taking him in the late 30s that much. So I'm hoping that's a unique-ish build as well. The other thing is like the final is 216 teams. So you really, I don't think, have to get that, like, go out of your way to get super unique in this particular contest. I really like Swift. I'm going to take, Laporta. I'm going to take Laporta here. And then again, the question of, do I do another Pacheco team? Do I take a different receiver? I'm really not big on Jerry Jeudy. I think I would rather take Pearsall of any of these guys. Or maybe, let's do a Matthew Golden team. Let's do a Matthew Golden team. Skeletor set up. Who Aims fast may fill before the slows they allocate. That's true. It's funny. I thought they normally build the rooms for one side or the other, and usually you see one there's no more fast or there's no more slows. But right now, I mean, this is pretty late. You can get in either one. Skeletor says, GM, did I miss the Dynamic Brown propaganda portion? No, you didn't. And that was mostly clickbait for the thumbnail. But I do love Dyami Brown. And if you didn't see on ESPN, there was some just the most hyper bullish coach speak from our friend Liam Cohen on Dyami Brown, just saying how he's, just electrifying player who's just a tackle breaking machine who can do anything. And I have been taking Dyami Brown. I I think I'm at 16%, so I'm 2x the field here. On DraftKings, I'm at like 30% because his ADP has remained in the 200s. I think it's starting to climb. So I have a ton of Brown over on DK. But I really think that, he is technically like the wide receiver 3 in Jacksonville, but there's going to be a lot of times, when if Travis Hunter is, taking a series or plays off where, Brown is going to operate as the number 2. And I think he is just a very capable receiver. They paid him well. And, when you're drafting guys in the 16th, 17th, 18th round, you're, a lot of it, you're swinging for upside and you're trying to avoid zeros. And I think he presents, both opportunities. So I think Dyami Brown is going to continue to rise, and especially with like that article that came out, I think it's, I think he could push into the 14th, 15th round from where he was, but we will see. Who Aim says, good point. I was thinking overall in the time box. Yeah. It's something I want to do more in BBMs, but the problem is I get to BBM and I'm like, every single draft feels precious. I don't want to like do wonky stuff, but maybe that's the place you do the wonky stuff, right? Because people are not flipping the board. They're not thinking about these, combinatorial things that really can, differentiate you. My philosophy has been with BBM is that the unique combos, I really want to catch those when I get a faller and try to, get lucky with a combination that's hard to get because I've scooped the ADP value versus, reaching too high and losing some projection. But I think as BBM starts getting closer to fill, I could kind of look at my portfolio and figure out places where I want to do that more. But let's see what the room gives to us. Will Matt Brigg take Patrick Mahomes unstacked? It is tempting. People like to do that. Neither of these guys need Mahomes. Etienne goes, does this guy go Burrow Mahomes? He does not. So we are going to get Mahomes with Worthy. That's pretty awesome. And do we want to do Mahomes Mason? Do we want to do Mahomes Travis Kelce? Of course, I took Laporta. So now having Laporta feels a little silly. Jordan Mason is tempting. But I think if I take Travis Kelce, then again, I can shut down tight end here and feel pretty good about that, and try to, try to make this a 3-6-7-2 team and feel pretty good about that. Get Mahomes with Worthy and Kelce feels nice, and potentially have a Sam Laporta who to me grades out pretty similarly to some of these receivers. Maybe not in the exact tier he goes, like in the 70s, but at least compared to this, Cooper Kupp, Coleman, Rashid Shaheedi kind of range, I think we could end up seeing similar production. So, possibility one of our tight ends hits our flex, and we get a Mahomes double stack, which always feels pretty good. Skeletor says SBF draft at 11 a.m. windmilling Gibbs or CMC at the 104. Otherwise, I guess I'll settle for Bijan or Saquon. Yes, Skeletor, I have never done the Scotty Fishbowl, but hopefully one day I can get in. I've thought about doing some of those the charity streams on here, and maybe for some sub goal I'll do one where I try to rip those. The problem is they don't really fill very often, so it's like kind of hard to plan to do the Scott Fishbowl qualifier over here on Underdog. But maybe when the season gets closer, there will be more of that. But yeah, that's awesome, and good luck in your draft today. Let's see. They must have upped their quoties on Slappies and SFB because I have no idea how I got an invite. Well, Skeletor, I think it is well deserved. A pillar of the community here, and you definitely helped get the Matic Dynasty leagues off the ground. So again, thanks for all your help in that, especially setting up the League Pass stuff. That was I really wasn't looking forward to doing that. So thank you for all your help there. And it's been fun. The drafts have been the Dynasty startup has been a ton of fun over there. Justin Fields at 111. My goodness, that is really nice feel like I don't see him go into the 10th round very often, and that is a really good fall there. He doesn't have him stacked, but that's fine, especially he's got Lamar and Fields, which is a lot of QB firepower, but getting Fields there is you could argue you could have taken him at 106 and just let him go. and Fields came around. Let's see what's coming up for us. Of course, Evan Ingram would be nice as a Kansas City bringback, but I cannot take a yet another tight end. That seems bad. Cam Scatterbo would be my favorite pick here, but I do worry that old BBJ here with 6 receivers probably needs Scatterbo. If he's paying attention, he won't take Evan Ingram because he should know that I won't need him. I don't get a lot of Ramondre, but I suppose Ramondre would make sense on this team. Not my favorite click. I really don't like Javonte Williams. I feel like that's just kind of bad. All right. Well, he took Drake May. I don't think, Jordan Love is interesting. Let me take Scatterbo here. And maybe we just take Jordan Love because I don't think I can count on Stroud being there with my next pick. So we're going to take Jordan Love, and that does leave open the possibility of stopping at 2 QB with Mahomes and Love here. I'll probably try to add a third one if Stroud comes around. It would be tough for me to pass him because then I could get, Golden, Worthy, and Nico Collins all stacked. Having Scatterbo there does open the possibility of a Jackson Dart round 17, 18 kind of click with a Darius Slayton or Wandale sort of back stack. I don't think that's unreasonable. I think Scatterbo, if he ends up catching a lot of passes, could drag his quarterback with him. Now, that could be kind of like a late season hammer sort of pick there. So we'll keep the light on for Scatterbo. Obviously, if Justin Herbert swings all the way around, we have Omari and Hampton. We could then backstack Herbert with like a QJ, but I don't think Herbert's going to be there. 25 picks past ADP. That seems unlikely, but you know what? You never know. Justin Fields, who tends to go early, if anything, went 11, 12 picks past ADP himself. All right. Mike Deck 22. That's me in the 10 hole. You too, Algo, showed me your stream before I got in the draft and saw you in here. Mike Deck 2022. Thank you so much for stopping by this morning. I will go over. I'll go over your team. Thanks for the support. And as always, everyone, please like and subscribe. It helps keep this fledgling stream and gets the word out, gets the algo pushing it to Mike Deck 22. They must have known you were in the draft. Who Hames finally had an RB jump Scatterbo in exposure. Who Hames, who has jumped Scatterbo in your exposure? I am curious. Who Hames, chat is good. Hey, Mike Deck, or Who Hames, thanks for the kind words. I am looking forward to our I am going to be appearing on Who Hames' channel on Wednesday. So I am excited. That will be a late, for me, very late in the day. I'm normally going to bed at 5 p.m., but I'm going to stay up extra late, and I'm going to be there on Who Hames' channel. So Who Hames, I'm really looking forward to that. That is going to be so much fun. Also, if you don't subscribe to Who Hames, like whatever you're doing, just stop and go over and do that, because Who Hames, one of the best streams out there. Entertaining stream, super knowledgeable. Like it's just a fun time every time you're over there. So definitely recommend checking out Who Hames. Jarquez Hunter. I think that's fine, right? Like if you're gonna have somebody where you're making a big stand, making it in the 18th round is like the place to do it, because it doesn't bury you if you're wrong, and if you're right, it could be like a league winner. So I am in on I'm totally in on that there. CJ Stroud is still here. Let's see if Matt Brigg has any reason to take him. He doesn't. So I think, well, queue up Stroud. I think it might be man. It's like Mims is the bring back and Hollywood is on the team. Do we skip Stroud and just do that? Boy, I think I got to take Stroud, and then I think I got to just do the triple. I think it's getting a little cute to take Mims over Hollywood in this situation here. Although I see the vision for Mims, I might just have to make Pat Bryant a priority if I do want to bring back. He may not be there with my next pick, but I think it's getting a little clever taking the bring back over the direct stack. Although I am certainly open to I am open to disagreement on that, especially because I'm not huge on Hollywood Brown. Marvin Mims has been a pretty big faller lately. I feel like he's more and more slips into this 140 range. That was a little bit of a tough decision. I certainly understand people who would say pass on Stroud. You already have Mahomes and Love, but this is, this team is going to be very robust. This team has a lot of survivability, and I think it's swinging for upside, with all three quarterbacks in their stacks there. So, those are the kind of decisions I think make best ball fun and are tough, because I think you could make arguments for either one. I'll queue up Pat Bryant, even though he's not going to be there, just so I can see him there. Best ball on call, busy AF at work, but here for like number 9. Well, I do not like to hold the room at like point to do another draft, but I might have to get there. We're only at 9. I know, we've. If you can, just please like the stream. It really helps. It gets the algo out so that things like things like this happen, so that Mike Deck 22, the algo pushes it to him. Let's see who Hames. Yesterday I forgot to put myself in the StreamYard box. At like 2 minutes of silence at the start of my stream. You figured it out faster. Yeah, who Hames? I couldn't believe I did that. I was like talking into the void. But yeah, it's funny that kind of thing. Actually, I when I first started streaming, I was streaming Battle Royales last year, and I streamed for 2 hours, and I was not on stage, and so I just literally had silence. So it was like watching a silent film without even a soundtrack. It was just clicking buttons on clicking buttons on a VR, and nobody was watching. And it was just absolutely brutal. But we've come a long way since then, and hopefully I can keep the production. It's I don't think I deleted it. I think it's on there. I would say watch it, but don't watch it. It's terrible, but it is just a monument to complete failure as far as my early streaming days. So let's see, we've got a 3-3-5-2 here. There goes Pat Bryant, not too unexpected. I think I need another running back. I think I'm getting nervous about Roschon Johnson. I'm really thinking Kyle Monangai is going to be the back you want if you're taking one of these late guys between Roschon and Monangai. I don't know. I'm not completely out on Roschon, but I'm going to take Dowdle here, and then pair Dowdle with Wandale. I know we're not going to end up with Jackson Dart on this team, but I'm trying to vary my guys, and if I'm going to make a little bit of a bet on this Giants team, I'll do that. I guess Jalen Knoll, maybe I clicked that a little fast. Jalen Knoll probably would have been the better click, going for a little more late round upside with Houston. I think if I could have that pick back, that's what I would have done. But again, 20-second clocks can be unforgiving, and I would have done that. Mike Deck says misclick. I need to pull you up 1 second. Crander says there's dozens of us Kyle Monangai balls. They might not work out for us. It might not work out. Al Boogie says I have maybe 1 share of Roschon. Everybody has been wish casting him for years now. Yeah, I was one of those wish casters there. But let's see. So Mike Deck 22, you said you were in the 10 hole, I believe. Let me make sure I have that right. All right, let's see your team. So you went with A-Chain, London, Lamar Jackson, Ted McMillan, Alvin Kamara, James Conner, Darnell Mooney, Jaden Reed, Rashid Shaheed, Justin Fields, David Njoku, Isaiah Likely, Cedric Tillman, and Jalen Wright. So I see why the algo showed you my stream, because this is a very Chad Candles team that you have built. So I wholeheartedly approve. I like all of these picks. I like all of these picks that you made. I like that you have this little bet on the Saints. I think, Kamara and Shaheed, some of these guys I think are pretty heavily underpriced. You were the one that got that amazing fall on Fields. I like your tight end room, and Njoku makes a ton of sense. Likely paired with Lamar is awesome. I'm in on that. I don't know if you were trying to get Penix, and then no, you passed on Penix to get the stack. But I think when you have Fields and Lamar, then what you're saying is that you could have a week 17 at Falcons explosion where London and Mooney get there, but Penix gets outscored by Lamar or Fields. I don't think that's unreasonable at all. So I don't mind when you have those double stacks, not getting the quarterback, as long as you have like a rushing QB that sort of tells a story of the quarterback getting covered up by a better score from a rushing quarterback. So like the team there, Will Shipley makes sense. Dyami Brown's on the thumbnail. So you are getting an A from me, absolute dog. So again, appreciate your support. Went for the super push with Penix since I had both the weapons. Yeah, I mean, I think that's fine. I don't know if if that guy planned on taking Kyle Pitts. Yes, he got Kyle Pitts. So, there's a special guy that thinks Kyle Pitts is the answer. If they still believe in Kyle Pitts, then my God, they will believe in anything. Let's see. Will we get Jalen Noel? Will the wrong be righted, or will we just have to see him go here? I will queue up Jarquez Hunter for Huhames and Jalen Noel. We get our guy. So all's well that ends well here. We will take Noel. We will take Hunter. So we've got a 3-5-7-2 team with Mahomes, Jordan Love, CJ Stroud at quarterback, Jonathan Taylor, Omarion Hampton, Cam Scatabo, Rico Dowdle, and Jarquez Hunter at running back. Nico Collins, T. Higgins, Xavier Worthy, Matthew Golden, Hollywood Brown, Wan'Dale Robinson, Jalen Noel at receiver, and Sam Laporta and Travis Kelce at tight end. Dare I say, I like this team. I think this team came out pretty well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to queue up a bunch of running backs. I'll queue up Mitchell. I'll queue up Taj Brooks. I'll queue up Manungai. Just some of my kind of favorite clicks. I'll put Woody Marks as the, emergency backup. I know they signed Nick Chubb, but again, he should be the pass catching back in Houston. And we have CJ Stroud. So if you're ever going to take Woody Marks, I don't think Woody Marks is going to be highly drafted in this contest. He will be kind of the bailout quarterback. I'm going to fire up one more Chihuahua, assuming it's not full. If you want to get in, I'll count this down from 5. And as soon as you hear me 5, there's a 5-second delay. So if you want to try to get in, so 5. Oh no, I didn't count myself. All right, that sounds like I think that was 5 seconds. Waiting for 1. My God, I have never. I told you all to click when I said 5, and I did it myself. So anyway, these are snap filling. So I'm sorry. I'm sorry if you were trying to get in and I rugged you there. But I'm at the 2 hole. I'm embarrassed. That did not work. All right. Let's see. I need to hire a video editor to remove that. All right. Let's see. FK Coolers, Chihuahua, and Pitbull will fill today. Fingers crossed for a puppy or 150 max contest. Agree with you, FK Coolers. Would love puppy 2, especially now that the puppy but super flex is full. I think there's a good chance we get that. FK Coolers, Huames agrees. He said it would be fun as long as it's not the slow puppy. Yeah. Hard agree there. Mike Deck went for the I think I read that before about the super push, and Huames urging me to get in. It's like 0.7, so I was able to get in this one here. And I'm just going to take Justin Jefferson. That's a little different. I didn't want to do another chase stream, but we'll start with Justin Jefferson. I'll go back to the other one so we can finish up the board, and then and we can just review Mike Deck 22's team when it ends. So we've got Kyle Manungai, Jordan James, and Woody Marks left to go. see what the room gives us. Let's just make sure there's not some other like truly obvious pick that we are passing. So no, I'll take Kyle Monangai. Mentioned him earlier, and take him as Mr. Irrelevant. So Kyle Monangai is on the team. I went over the team before. Let's see what Absolute Dog does. He got a 2-6-7-3 with Lamar and Fields. Running back room of A-Chain, Kamara, Connor, Jalen Wright, Will Shipley, and Keaton Mitchell. I didn't notice the handcuffing in Miami, but I think, at pick 159, that's perfectly reasonable thing. And there's a chance that these two guys have different roles and it's not just a backup thing. So don't mind doing that there. Drake London, Ted McMillan, Darnell Mooney, Jaden Reed, Rashid Shaheed, Cedric Tillman, Dyami Brown, strong receiver room, and Njoku, Likely, and Juwan Johnson holding it down at tight end. I think you built a really strong team there. So well done. I hope we are the two teams that make it out of there to the next round and at least get our money back in the Chihuahua. All right, let's pull the board up and see if anyone's doing anything weird. And the answer is no. No, nothing really out of the ordinary. I guess Nico going ahead of CMC at 10, a little bit of a fall there, but again, nothing to write home about. All right, so I'm hoping that this gets wrapped up before 10. I think it is likely to. If not, it will be very close, and then everyone can get over to Pete's stream for Best Ball breakfast, and we can keep on with our day. But again, thank you all so much for doing this. This has been a really fun stream, a couple of fun drafts, trying to just wind down the Chihuahua with all of you and get our day underway. And let's see. So CMC Amon-Ra, that's pretty nice. That's a pretty nice start. That's a little bit difficult to get, I think. Puka Lad, nice. So yeah, no one doing anything. No one doing anything too strange there. Although sometimes you do see Nico Lad, but this person just took the went by ADP here and went Nico London. Let's see what we do. I'm really big on Tyreek Hill. I've been trying to get more of him as he continues his rise up this season. T. Higgins is interesting because if you take Higgins here, then that means that you don't give JHFC the chance to double stack it, and then you become the Burrow pusher versus them. So you kind of control the board. You make them make that decision. I'll take Garrett Wilson here. We'll start with 3 receivers. I think my first team I built with you all was I had 1 running back there. So we'll open 3 RB. We'll make this one a little different and try to build some different textures and also do something different with you all versus what we did more. Chase Brown, made sense there to go with the Bengals double. It also takes one more piece off the board of somebody who could tell themselves that they're stacking Burrow with Brown. We'll see how that goes. But again, really big on Garrett Wilson. This will make Justin Fields a potential pick at 95 or 98, depending on what JHFC does and what the board looks like there. But a little bit of a decision there as far as Garrett Wilson versus Brown. But again, very high on Garrett Wilson. And again, we're talking about a guy who went at the 1-2 turn last year, now going at the 2-3 turn. And to me, the situation has only gotten better for him with the departure of Devontae Adams and Aaron Rodgers, who I don't think, Aaron Rodgers picks his favorites, and Garrett Wilson was not one of his favorites. Now he has this, college quarterback with him, and I think it's a wheels up on Garrett Wilson. All right. Who Hames, I love the banner designated your slappiness. Yeah, Who Hames, I've been meaning to update it with my because I think I was through 49 and I've done 55 teams now, so it's changed slightly on the margins, but this is the monument to my slappiness. I'm trying to get the Tootin shares down. There's too much base shell Tootin. I think I got out over my skis on that pick, and it sounds like the latest coach speak has been slightly bearish, that he has a lot to learn, that he's, especially with the pass protection stuff. Because if you're bad at pass protection, you're just not going to see the field. And that's like can be a death sentence for rookie running backs. So want to see that better. Obviously, the fumbling stuff got reported ad nauseum when he fumbled his first carry in rookie camp. Not great. But we'll see. He is a rookie. These players can learn. There's a reason they're like practicing in that camp and whatnot. So we will see. Lay the House RM, our goat, GM Lay the House RM. Thank you so much for coming by. One of the good ones and one of the better Twitter follows as far as sports betting content. Thank you again for coming by and the support. Lay the House RM. So Deep State Comics, I know I've drafted with them before. I don't think they're in the chat hanging out, but definitely one of the few remaining piss boys, just me and Deep State Comics, and I am likely to take a running back here if I can. Omari and Hampton is who would come to mind kind of as the natural pick in this range. James Cook goes off the board there. This is also a position where you can take Devonta Smith and then hope that Jalen Hurts comes around. That's pretty frequent to do in this turn range. But let's see what's on the board. So yeah, it's a slew of receivers and then Hampton and Hurts. So a lot of teams end up being kind of similar in this range. Let's see what Derek Trey Big does. He takes Metcalf, so the ADP value there disappears. Now, of course, if you go Devontae Hurts, then that makes you a little less likely to take Joe Burrow if he comes to you. Omari and Hampton goes. I'm gonna take Jalen Waddle here. I don't think I want to do the Devonta Hurts thing. I think I'm really gonna try to do the Burrow push and continue to be a piss boy, but take, probably Chuba Hubbard would be my selection here. If JHFC takes a Hubbard, then I'll take Kamara or Ken Walker. So I'll just take Hubbard here. A little surprised that he didn't do the Devonta Hurts double tap. You see that a lot from the one hole there when that's presented, but hopefully Hurts sliding this way takes away one more person who could try to snipe me on Burrow. So that is good to see that him not go off. Ideally it would be like the guy who has Chase Brown. If he takes Jalen Hurts, then I think that increases the chance of me successfully pulling off this Burrow push. But again, if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. It is unsuccessful more often than not, but we will see what the room gives to us. All right, a new Killer America. Is he the Jalen Hurts guy? He is. All right, that's good. That is good. So step one is has been accomplished, and let's see if we can pull off phase two. Pulling up, let's see. I am curious. While we are waiting for this, let me go to. If I go to exposure, $4 draft. So these are my Chihuahuas, and these are my Chihuahuas. So ended up with a ton of Waddle, a ton of JMO, Scatterbo, Braylon Allen, Tua. This is just to give you an idea of what I've been doing in some of these Chihuahuas, how things have turned out, some of my takes lately. Although, it's pretty skewed with only 14 teams here. I know I've done a couple more, but I don't think those have showed up. So this is sort of the current slappy indicator. A lot of Caleb Johnson. I tend to click Caleb over Judkins, but again, I guess that's only really one selection. But this is what I did in the Chihuahua. But it is funny that it's only showing 14 teams and hasn't updated some of the ones from last night or this morning. I thought this was going to show about 20 teams. Oh, now it's up to 21. Okay, so I had to hit refresh. So Waddle, JMO, Scatterbo, Dowdle, a lot of Travis Kelce. Again, more Caleb. Caleb and Quinchon. I thought that was going to be more weighted towards Caleb, but I guess I'm just taking a lot of running back in that range. But I'll pull the board back up. I just wanted to give you the latest sort of slappiness indicator for those of you curious as to how these Chihuahuas have gone down. RJ Harvey at 64. I continue to like him in the 60s range. I mean, we were taking him in the 40s before Dobbins showed up. And to me, all Dobbins did was consolidate the work that we were giving to Estime and McLaughlin and just sort of crystallized who was going to be getting those carries. And I think Harvey is not going to be impacted any more than he already was going to be impacted previously. Joey B, GM Sicko Hours. Well, thank you, Joey B, so much for coming by this morning and for hanging out and watching as we wrap up the Chihuahua New Killer America does not double tap quarterback. Let's see, do they give me the Joe Burrow push, or are we taking another share of Caleb Johnson here? I think this also shows that I am way more in on Caleb and Judkins than David Montgomery. I've had some nope, we don't get our guy. Somebody just absolutely had to have him, and yet you hate to see it, folks. You hate to see it, but let's just take Caleb Johnson here. It's okay. We shall overcome this. But yeah, it is tough to pull off the Burrow push. He becomes very tempting to the sort of 3, 4, 5 drafter. So I will take I will take a share of David Montgomery. I guess I just don't want to have zero. You know, he potentially has massive contingent upside if something happens to Gibbs. I think in my heart of hearts, I'm worried that Gibbs is going to consolidate more of the role, and David Montgomery, where we're drafting him, is kind of bad. But he's not a guy I completely want to be out on. He's also a bring back for Justin Jefferson. Of course, so is Sam Laporta, and to me that's a little bit more exciting of a bring back. But you know, I'm trying to not get crazy stands, you know, before about the 10th, 9th, 10th round. This is still early enough to where the guys you fade can really hurt you bad. So we'll take a share of David Montgomery, but I have to say that is not my favorite. Best ball, trademark it, the slap tick before someone else does. Yeah. Well, that's, yeah, I do need to, I don't know if people are scrolling their exposures, but I do think it helps if you're curious, because people always ask like, oh, who are your stands? And not that I don't like answering it, but this way you can just like see it, and I might forget something. But that is sort of in I'd say real time, but it's not real time because I haven't updated it in like a week. But that is in slight delayed the slap tick going on. FK Coolers forgot I asked you before, how often would you say you make 3 QB teams versus 2? Are you way more in on 3? I assume you're asking this because you're thinking about rostering me in the Herzig contest, which heavily weights advanced rates. And no, I know that's not why you're asking, but I do way more 3 QB teams. Last year I did mostly 2, with the idea that 2 is more of an upside swing. If you get to the finals, you'd rather have 2, like draft like you're right and all that. But I just think 3 is better. Like your third QB hits your lineup a lot. It really does help with advance rates. And then, when you get to the finals, your third QB, there's a reasonable chance they're the quarterback you need. As long as you're building like in a way where the third QB makes sense. I don't like try to just like jam in and random unstacked quarterback late, but I just think it gives you actually, when you stack another quarterback, it just gives you another chance to kind of like hit the nuts with that team that goes off. That I would say I build about 85-90% 3 QB teams. It's really if I take one of the kind of big 4 of Allen, Hurts, Daniels, Lamar teams that I take 2. I'll take 2 if I get frozen out, or if there's some kind of like significant ADP value around where I would have taken another quarterback. But I pretty much have come around to the idea that it's just like kind of the superior way to build. But again, with the caveat that I don't want it to be at the cost of like other position players that I need, or making my team like worse. All right. Who Aim says, wild that Caleb Williams is now a pick after Drake May. They learning. Yeah, I mean, I think that's right. Like Caleb, where is he now at 109? Yeah, he was higher than that before. He's hard to get, and I think it's because you have 3 receivers ahead of him. He sort of naturally kind of gets pulled up. Because you have the Moore, the Odunze, and the Burden drafter. I guess Burden now goes after. Burden was a bit steamier, but he's been a faller since he's been injured. I'm just going to take Justin Fields. We'll stack him with Garrett Wilson. Don't want to get too cute there because Fields is a guy you can take naked. I don't have a need for Kyler. I don't think I need another Travis Kelce team. Jalen Warren is, oh God, we're going to do it because I can't do anything else. All right, we're going to do it. We're going to do it, guys. We are taking Jalen Warren and Caleb Johnson on this team. The turn snap picked Nix and Harris, so I was like not ready to pick. I didn't want to do another Travis Kelce team. And, staring at Keon Coleman and Rashid Shaheed, I don't know. I don't do this very often. I don't take Caleb and Warren together all the time. But, if you want to tell yourself a story that this is like A-Chain Mostert from 2 years ago, I don't think that's the nuttiest story you can tell yourself. Arthur Smith offense are going to throw a lot. With Aaron Rodgers, maybe they're a little better. They move the ball. It could be, I do think the Steelers could be somewhat of an ascendant offense, as boring as that sounds. So, not going to do this a lot. Not going to do a lot of Caleb Warren teams, but I think there's a time and a place, and maybe that's where, our RB1 is Chuba Hubbard, and we're trying to like sort of, money ball ourselves a running back room here. Especially, again, I'm David Montgomery. I do not like David Montgomery as my third running back. I think he's not going to be, super reliable provider of points. I think he's going to have up and down weeks. And again, if he might lose some role to Gibbs. So a little bit of a panicky pick, but not, to me, not the worst idea in the world. Again, another thing I'd love to hear people's opinions on, because it is too early-ish picks for running backs in the same backfield. But, if we're going to tell ourselves that Arthur Smith just wants to run the hell out of the ball, I think Caleb and Warren potentially could each have pretty valuable weeks, or they're each getting like 40% of the carries, and it's just like they cap out at 12 fantasy points each, and neither one's useful, and it's just occupying 2 roster spots. That could happen too. And this could be really bad. Joey B loves Demont, especially in half PPR. I mean, I get it. I mean, he's going at 70, 74. So people do like him. I'm just like, I find myself making the bear case for Montgomery more than being excited about having him. Crander says the third QB opens you up to another possible outcome in the weekly games. Yeah, I just think like I went into the year thinking it was kind of like a safety mindset, but now I've come around to the idea that it's actually like is really, you can think of it as another big swing. Joey B will take Caleb over May 9 out of 10 times. I don't know. I think just in a vacuum, I prefer May because of his kind of like rushing upside you get, but I think Caleb has better stacking partners. So I feel like it's fair that they go kind of near each other. I like both of them. I take a lot of both of them. But I don't know how I would do it if they went next to each other, or like they kind of like converged. Would I still take a lot more Caleb than Drake May? I don't love either of their playoff schedules. That's another issue. That's one issue with Chicago and New England. I think I prefer that week 17 game of Caleb against the Niners a little more. But I don't know. I don't know. It's an interesting thought there. We are coming back up, and again, we are in that range where receiver is kind of terrible. I'll queue up McCarthy. Oops, not Justin Herbert. So I'm going to take McCarthy to guarantee my Jefferson stack, and then maybe we'll take Tucker Kraft. We'll take Tucker Kraft next. I know although, you know what, Njoku actually makes more sense than Kraft on this team, because if we're going to do a week 17, we're going to do Pittsburgh versus Cleveland here. I think that makes more sense, but then Njoku goes. So the choice is taken away from us. I don't think I have a need for any of these receivers here, and we'll take Tucker Kraft. So far we've got 2-4-4-1. Justin Fields with J.J. McCarthy, running back room of Chuba Hubbard, Caleb Johnson, David Montgomery, Jalen Warren. So pretty sketchy running back room, but we're telling ourselves stories here. Wide receivers of Justin Jefferson, T. Higgins, Garrett Wilson, Jalen Waddle, and a tight end room consisting of only Tucker Kraft so far. So interesting decision here. This unfortunately is looking kind of like another 3-6-6-3 team. Running back, we definitely cannot stop at 5 the way that we've constructed. I think that's bad. Wide receiver room, maybe we stop at 6, but I think I would have felt better if I had one more kind of elite receiver. Although, we did use our first 4 picks on receiver, so maybe this ends up just being no, I mean, I don't really want to end receiver at 5. I think maybe if I had taken one more, you do a hyper fragile receiver room. I don't do that very often, but I don't think it's terrible. But I don't think this is the particular team for it. So, we will see what the room provides to us. Probably take one more quarterback, and that would be Tua, if that presents itself. If not, I don't hate taking Bryce Young when you have Chuba as your RB1. He has a little bit of rushing floor himself. Maybe tell yourself there's a little more involvement in the pass catching game, and you can backstack Bryce Young pretty easily. All right. Joey B says Etienne might flip Warren there. Yeah, Etienne's been rising, and I don't really understand why. And who Hames? Yeah, can't get into Etienne. I am with you there. I have taken every other running back, including LeQuint Allen on DraftKings over Etienne. I don't recommend taking LeQuint Allen, but there was one room I got completely frozen out. I needed a last round running back, and somehow in that room, everyone was gone. And I scrolled down to LeQuint Allen, telling myself it's a full PPR site and he is a pass catcher. Maybe this will work. Probably won't work, but I did take the 4th running back there. Who Ames agrees that could happen. Joey B has 2 most exposed, so getting Etienne back so we don't cry all season. Yeah. My fear with Etienne is that he actually gets we're all right, and he gets cut, and then he gets signed by Dallas, and and then it's oh no, this is what have I done? I should have drafted Etienne. Giving it to Etienne at 100 could see some stupid steam if he looks good in camp. If he looks good in camp, I will capitulate and I will take him. Demarcus Robinson just went pick 162 to a red badge. I think you get red badges from pick'ems now, so it's just it just doesn't even mean anything. And Crander 47 middling it says I like both. That's probably the best way to play it. Just take some of each one, and you're probably going to be right at the end of the day. This guy does not have any Dolphins, but nor does he have any Falcons. So I'd probably take Tua here if I can get my fingers in order to just take Tua. I don't think I need to push him just to take Ray Davis. I do like Ray Davis more than these other backs in this range. But yeah, I'm just gonna draft Tua here. So we end up with our 3rd quarterback. We've stacked Jalen Waddle. Probably queue up. I'll queue up Leggett and Palmer, and then take one of them. So there goes Pat Bryant. Interesting there, and Isaiah likely. I'll take Leggett here. I think that's fine. I have Hubbard, so build out a little bit of bet on this Carolina team. Josh Palmer, I do like. I don't mind taking him. I don't think any of these tight ends really made a ton of sense. I mean, Jonnu, of course, I do have a small bet on Pittsburgh, but I think he's going to keep on sliding a little bit more. But again, I guess that doesn't matter in a time box contest. Like, this contest is going to end in like 7 minutes. So if I want him, that was probably the time. Mike said, asked, any of your primary vids, have you talked about your background? Don't want to pester you about something you've talked about a bunch. Maybe. I mean, we talk for like a couple hours most days, so I don't know specifically, but yeah, I mean, I got into best ball. Last year was the first year I maxed BBM and the big board and stuff. Previously, mostly like DFS. I like the battle royales. I had some success in BRs last year, which was really fun and is letting me max BBMs and some of these other contests. As far as real life, I'm actually an attorney. I just hate that and think this is a lot more fun and hanging out with all of you, where I can be a nice, transparent, open book. I can show you my exposures and just have some fun and positivity, and that's what I'm trying to do here. I don't know if I answered your question, but that is the very, very short version. Etienne's rising because he's probably the best running back on Jacksonville. Some vague Barkley similarities. And like you said, if he gets traded to a team that values him. Yeah. It's like I want some Etienne, but now that he's rising, I want it even less. And it's so brutal. Mike Deck skimmed some early ones and didn't hear it. Well, yeah, feel free to ask anything. Did not see attorney coming. No, because it's like I should have picked another career, because this is much more fun doing something with a little creativity and trying to bring happiness into the world instead of misery. All right, quid pro quo says, got my shares of Robinson pre-confirmation of a healthy CMC. Yeah, and I think he's also getting suspended, isn't he, for like 3 or 4 games? So I don't know. It's a little thin of a bet, I am afraid. Who says this is the time to take LeQuint Allen. I can't tell if you're joking, Who but don't tempt me, because I have like 20% big board LeQuint Allen, and I'll click him again. I will absolutely click him again, especially on T-Law teams. I'm not sure he covered it. Not the normal attorney vibe. No, not at all. Not at all. I've always said, if you've watched Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, the Benicio del Toro attorney who's like, he'd just rather be doing anything else but practicing law. That's kind of my feeling on the matter. All right, let's see what is coming up to us. Tank Bigsby, probably, speaking of Jacksonville running backs, would be nice. I feel like he's gonna go. No, all right, we'll take Tank Bigsby. And probably need another tight end here. All right, let's take Bigsby and Mason Taylor, of course, stacks with Fields, but I don't know if I need to force that. Maybe we'll take Hunter Henry. I don't get a ton of Hunter Henry, and when I do, it tends to be on Drake May teams, so I don't know if I necessarily want that every single time. Having Tua opens up the Waller tight end thing. I like some of these receivers in this range, but let's just add one more tight end to the room and see about some of these other late receiver options we can get, and of course one more running back before we completely shut it down. And in 5 minutes, best ball breakfast begins. So I think this is going to time out pretty good. Yeah, not the greatest picks these days. Oh, Robinson. Yeah. Well, I mean, he finds a way on the field, and he has surprised. So I'm not willing to write those shares to absolute zero just yet, and especially if the news on Ayuk continues to remain bad. It is a crowded room, like a very crowded room, but again, we're taking a lot of late round flyers. You never know, but I can't say that he is somebody that I have been taking this this off season yet. Oh, Who Aims is joking, but in these time box tournaments, I think of round 18 dart player you loved in big board makes sense as a single share. So we can take. I'm hearing Damian Martinez. I'm hearing Damian Martinez as a bring back to my Carolina stuff in this game. I got you, Who Aims. I know that's what you're saying. Yeah, I was looking at my big board exposures, and it's there's some sad names on there, like Raheem Sanders. A lot of Raheem Sanders, who is just absolutely buried in an avalanche of running backs in Los Angeles, which is a little unfortunate, because I did like him and thought he would have a chance to work his way onto the field. All right, Who Aims, I did that exact thing in my last draft on stream yesterday. All right, well, I do need another running back. We'll see. I actually, Damian Martinez in a time box like this, I don't hate it, because you do randomly get the reports of like Walker potentially being moved. And if Walker moves, then suddenly Martinez is the number 2 with Charbonnet. And, could he win that job? Could he be the goal line back? Does he then just have contingent upside? I don't know. I don't want to advocate for taking running back 3s right now, because I think that's the way you eat zeros, because these bets, sound good now, and then like literally they don't play. But it's just like one of those names to potentially keep an eye on. Maybe more of a DraftKings play where you're 20 rounds and you're, super thin, and you can take a few more like weird upsidey kind of plays. I don't think in an 18 round draft on Underdog, I want to be doing that, but we take an RB3 every draft in Jacksonville. Who Aims, that's fair. That's fair. But we do it not knowing if it's the RB3. Like, we're hopeful that it's and do I want Mason Taylor or Waller? You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take Miles Sanders and then let the fates decide. I'm going to try to get the Dallas RB1. And if this guy takes Taylor or Waller, they will make our decision for us. Let's see. Sanders goes. So he does not do us any favors. Can't even tiebreak this to a, can't. I'm just trying to coerce you. Who Aims just being a bad influence. All right, just for that, I'm taking Darren Waller. I'll take Darren Waller. I have a ton of Mason Taylor and other stuff. I think either pick is fine. Mason Taylor had been getting some good coach speak about his blocking and which is what can be the Achilles heel of getting a young tight end out on the field. So yeah, one more pick left, and it will be a wide receiver. I will just queue up a bunch of guys here. Maybe Jalen Naylor. Unfortunately, I've capitulated that Ty Felton might really just be kind of a project receiver and not get there. So we'll see if we can stack McCarthy and Naylor. Otherwise, we will take Elijah Moore, MVS, maybe a bringback, just some of these different names that we're trying to sprinkle in. But I know many of you are trying to get over to Pete's stream, which starts right now. So I'll recap the team. We've got Justin Fields, JJ McCarthy, Tua Tagovailoa at quarterback. So nice quarterback room. Chuba Hubbard, Caleb Johnson, David Montgomery, Jalen Warren, Tank Bigsby, Miles Sanders. Sketchy running back room, but yeah, we'll see if we get there. Justin Jefferson, T. Higgins, Garrett Wilson, Jalen Waddle, Xavier Legette. So super top-heavy wide receiver room, really leaning on these first 4 to get there. And then Tucker Kraft, Hunter Henry, and Darren Waller at tight end. So we'll take one more receiver, and then we will be out of here. So again, thank you all so much for coming in this morning. I really appreciate starting the day with you. If you have not liked and subscribed, it really helps get the word out. I mean, I'm so glad to hear that we had someone, the algo got somebody here, and then they turned out they were even drafting with us, which is quite the coincidence, because there are so many Chihuahua rooms, or there were. I don't know if this tournament filled or not, but again, thank you so much for coming in. Cross X Face says Naylor. Well, I think that's where I'm gonna go. We'll try to take Naylor. We'll see if I can't imagine anyone. The only person who might take Naylor is like the Goff team, I think, who would be doing like a bring back. Otherwise, he tends to go undrafted. Way cool, dude. Well, thanks again, Fantasy Dog. Thanks so much for coming in. It was fun drafting with you last night over on Fanspeak. But I again really just appreciate the support from all of you and hanging out early, because it's we're all just getting our day started, and hopefully it's starting off on the right foot. The only problem with the last picks is some people just queue them up and don't click auto. So sometimes the last round is actually the slowest. GM Bindles, thank you for hopping in here as we wind down the stream this morning, waiting to make our last pick, and then I will be signing off for the day here. Theo Johnson, Terrence Ferguson, all these, late round darts. You can see what other people are doing. A whole lot of tight ends tend to go in this last round. Tutu Atwell, he was in my queue as a potential last round click. Tyler Shuck goes. Hey, Crander47, no, thank you for coming by. We will take Jalen Naylor, and that will do it. So again, thanks everybody so much, and I will see you all again tomorrow. Same great time, same great channel. Take care, everyone.